Hi, everybody. My name is Jeremy Harrison Lalonde, and I'm a recruitment and admissions officer for Bishop's University. I'm actually a recent alumni myself for the class of 2020. So I do have quite a unique student perspective since I'm such fresh out of school at the moment. Today, I'm going to be tackling the question of how you could differentiate yourself when you go to a post-secondary education and the various job opportunities you may be able to have on and off campus. I'm going to be moving on to today's agenda. We're going to be talking about what makes Canada so unique since Bishop's University is located in Canada, the country of Canada, how you can stand out when you attend a post-secondary education with the various opportunities you have access to when you go to a Canadian institution, and what makes us unique for Bishop's University compared to the various other institutions you could apply. Let's talk about Canada itself. Multiple students choose to live, learn, and succeed in Canada. We have ranked consistently #1 in best quality of life several years in a row. 9 of our Canadian universities have ranked in the top 200 in the world, and 5 of our Canadian universities have ranked in the top 100 employability in the world. The quality of education that you get in Canada is internationally well recognized, and you can bring it wherever you want to go upon graduation. Canada is also one of the world's most competitive economies, and we're the 10th most entrepreneurial economy in the world. Canada is also the 6th best country to do business with, according to Forbes magazine in 2018. Canada is also ranked in #1 in the G20 as the easiest place to start a business. There are various entrepreneurial opportunities available in Canada, and there are funds and grants given directly by the government of Canada itself. We're also one of the second soundest banking systems in the world with tight regulations, and also are one of the world's largest, least corrupt societies. Because of Canada's strong investment in its citizen, you can really do see some major startup companies that have started in Canada. A great example of that is Shopify, IMAX Theaters, Le Cirque du Soleil, which is now in Nevada, who has recently been bought out by a Chinese company. You also have BlackBerry. We've all known BlackBerry, who has undergone quite a transition outside of hardware and moving directly into enterprise solutions, as well as Bombardier, which builds quite a lot of machineries when it comes to planes, trains, skidoos, things like that. A recent startup company that you may not have heard of when it comes to Bitmoji on your Snapchat. That was a startup company in Toronto, Canada that got bought out by Snapchat and integrated into their system. So there are many small little companies like that that tend to get purchased and integrated into larger companies. If you want to have an idea of what are some of the main industries that are currently growing in Canada, the main startup industries, you can see some of the major hubs in Canada. So we have Ottawa, Toronto, Waterloo, Edmonton, Quebec City, Vancouver, and Montreal. These are all some of the major city hubs in Canada itself. If that was a student and anyone who's watching here, I would take a screenshot of that to have an idea of where you may want to orient yourself when you do decide to attend a Canadian institution. If you're someone who wants to do game development, I would orient myself more into the Quebec province, closer to Montreal or Quebec City, where there's a lot of game development studios that are placed there. It has increasingly been growing in Vancouver as well, but we do have some of the major developments. You can see those major industries that are in our gaming industry, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence. These are some of the major industries that are currently growing in Canada. But Canada has ranked third for education, and like I said, #1 in best quality of life. We're also world-class collaborators when it comes to research and development. We're responsible for at least 2.8% of global scientific research. We're also quite competitive when it comes to cost of living compared to many top ranking destinations such as Australia, New Zealand, many countries in the EU, as well as the States. Their dollar is a little less, you could say, high, so it's a little easier for international students who want to take advantage of some opportunities while attending a Canadian institution. We also have a consistent high quality education, like I mentioned. Education quality is the same across the country. So we're highly regulated and monitored by the government. We are a centralized education system, meaning we have to follow the exact same standard as every other university or school across Canada. When it comes to differentiating ourselves as a Canadian institution compared to other Canadian universities, it comes down oftentimes to the experience you're interested in having or the field you want to attend. Some university may not offer the field that you're interested in pursuing, and that could be a big differentiating factor as well. Like Bishop's University, I'm going to talk a bit about that. We're more of a smaller, tight-knit community campus, and someone who may want to have a larger city experience, Bishop's University would not be the school for that. We're also one of the top spenders in public secondary education per capita. We do put a significant investment in our citizens in terms of having the ability to readily access education. And because of that, it ranked us as the second highest rate of adults per population with a post-secondary education. Many individuals are able to attain their post-secondary education in attainable ways with affordable prices across the province. So before I move on to the second portion of today's agenda, which we're going to be talking about the various job opportunities and opportunities, extracurricular opportunities, I'm going to launch a poll here just to have an idea of who has been listening to what I was saying. So the first poll I'm going to launch, I'm going to click launch here. Which of the following startup companies are Canadian? Is it Starbucks? Is it Boeing? Is it Bombardier? Or is it Spotify? Can anyone answer the poll? Attendees are viewing the poll. I'm just waiting slightly longer. If you may not even know, just click on any of them before. I'm waiting for two more. 4 out of 6 have done the poll.
You might just want to end it there.
Okay. Perfect. So the answer here is Spotify is not from Canada. The company that is Canadian inside of this specific list was Bombardier, which is they make planes, trains, and many other things like skidoos. So the second poll I'm going to launch, the last one, before I move on to the second portion of the actual presentation. This one is really going to see if you actually paid attention. It's how much, I'm going to launch it, sorry. How much research and development does Canada contribute worldwide? Is it 0.5%? Is it 2.8%? Or is it 3.2%? Again, I have 0 out of 6 who have done the poll. I'm just waiting for at least 3, and then I'll be able to move on to the last. All right, we've got one that did it. 2. I'm going to wait for one last person, and I'm going to move on to the second portion. Perfect. So yes, the majority, you guys were right. It was 2.8% that we contribute worldwide in terms of research, collaborative research and development, to be quite exact. So I'm going to share the results. Okay, stop sharing. Perfect. Let's move on to the research, undergrad research opportunities, internships, or cooperative educational opportunities. So again, these are not going to be unique to many institutions that you'll be attending worldwide. These resources are available for any students who tend to go to any universities across the world. So let's talk about the internship opportunity program that you may be interested in. An internship is a form of on-the-job training that gives the students the opportunity to test out the possible career or position while they're in school. So it kind of gives a student an idea of what the real world will be like upon graduation from their field of study. Internships are usually refers to a one-term work assignment. So oftentimes that will be during the summer, but it may not not be always. You can have internships during the school year as well. Internships can be full-time, part-time. They could also be paid and unpaid, depending the employer and the field of study that you're in. So there's a lot more variables that you are able to play with when you do your own internships. It gives a lot of power to the student itself to decide the path that they want to go in and what type of experience they want to get out of going to do an internship. When it comes to a cooperative educational program, again, those are readily available for many other institutions across the world. Essentially, that's the goal of that particular program is to participate, have the student gain a deep understanding and practical work experience where they can apply the lessons that they've learned in class to their course, the lessons they learned in class into the real life in business that they're in the business setting that they're in. So essentially, it's more of a quality control, perfectly integrated in conjunction with your actual degree to allow you to have the best added value towards your degree and the experience that you've got while you are doing a cooperative educational program. When it comes to bishops, we're slightly unique. It is you have to apply for that program, so you have to reach a specific grade and other requirements in order to get in. And once you're in, there are some other criterias. So you're going to have to. It's going to be quality controlled bishops university placement. So bishops will decide what company and what position you'll be put into. You'll have to be supervised in order to know how well you've excelled while you're at that internship placement. We also don't accept any unpaid internships. So any internships that you will get paid for it. And it's also during the summertime. We don't have any co-op internships during the school years. It's always going to be during the summertime, full time. That's going to happen. That may be varied depending on other institutions that you go on to. They may have different ways of doing things, but the cooperative educational program, the main goal and purpose is the same across the board. You also have access to research opportunities. So research-based learning is a teaching and learning concept that encourages students to assume the role of a researcher. So to identify a hypothesis and test out your hypothesis. The thing that makes us unique compared to other institutions is that we are primarily an undergrad institution. So that means that many work experiences that would be exclusive to more experienced students, so students who are doing a master's, are directly available for students in their undergrad. So that's something that makes us slightly more unique and that could allow students to get work experiences that may be unheard of at this stage that you may be in. Another way to stand out when you're in university and be able to get some experiences is to get involved. Getting involved will not only bring your name out there and knowing who you are as a student, the faculty will get to know who you are, other students will get to know who you are, and oftentimes opportunities tend to open up that way. As much as rude as it sounds, oftentimes when you go into a school, you are just a number with multiple other students who are doing the exact same thing that you are doing, the exact same program and the exact same classes. So what can you do to differentiate yourself, to make yourself slightly different from the rest of your colleagues? And that the main way that's accessible is getting involved into clubs, whether that will be more academic clubs or more extracurricular clubs, clubs like figure skating, snowboarding, rock climbing. These are clubs that are more social clubs for more leisure and fun. And those clubs, even though you may not think that it may add value to your degree, being able to network and create those connections with individuals will, first of all, develop a skill, a networking skill that's quite valued, and you'll be able to have a various connections upon graduation. A student that you may have hanged out with during the skiing club is in a company that you're interested in joining. It may not be the position that you want, but is in the organization that you want to enter. You may have that step up compared to other applicants that apply for that company. You may be even able to get directly to the interview portion of the actual recruitment process. Participating in more academic clubs, that could be clubs like the accounting club if you're an accounting student, healthcare, you can do chemistry, biology. These are clubs that are much more oriented towards your degree, and you'll be able to work and build skills within your field of study. You can also be a part of value-adding opportunities. Many institutions will offer various workshops for you to be able to truly develop skills that could give you a step up again. A great example of that is resume building workshops. how can you make your resume as effective as possible for you to be able to be seen by a human and hopefully be able to get an interview? Once you get the interview, that's one of the hardest things to do when you apply is to get that interview and passing the recruitment system when they look for the keywords on the specific, when they look for the specific keyword on your resume. Are also participating in workshop events for building your LinkedIn profile. How can you increase the most amount of visibility on your LinkedIn profile and make it easy for recruiters to find you on the platform? Attending those workshops will already give you a slight step up, especially upon graduation, when those are going to become very useful. And you could use those as well when you want to apply for internships or even being part of the co-op program. Also taking advantage of the headshots opportunities. Again, these are all the opportunities I'm showing that Bishop's University offers, but there's so much more that's being offered at various institutions as well. They're also participating in networking events. Networking events allow students to be able to learn how to communicate, how to network properly, how to present, um, how to adapt and think on their feet, how to properly network is a skill that many of us don't learn. And by the time that we learn it, it's slightly too late. Bishop's University offers those workshops directly. As we do have wine and cheeses that we call, where it's faculty networking events, where students are able to mingle between professors and deans, as well as other students from their classroom and their program. We also have major networking events where every single year we go to downtown Montreal at the Delton Law Firm, and you get to network with business executives, lawyers, as well again as dean and professors and students. And part of that, there's a training that's being done where they're going to teach you how to properly network and be able to enter a conversation and leave a conversation smoothly without adding too much interruption. The last way that you could get really involved and really build your skill base and experience is to build skills outside your classroom. So participating in things, I'm going to talk as a business student, since I was a business student myself and I graduated in 2020, being a part of business case competitions can really add value to your resume and even bring skills that many other students may not have the opportunity to grow. A great example of that, often business case competitions, you are going to be networking and evaluated by real business executives who have real current world issues with their companies and they're looking for a solution. So that will allow you to bring your name and make yourself a lot more visible for those large companies who are looking for someone that may have a mindset that they're particularly looking for. It also forces you to really learn how to collaborate with your teammate, how to work as a team, how to work under pressure and time constraints, how to find creative, innovative solutions to current business enterprise issues, how to, again, network once again after your presentations are done, how to have a work-life balance in between all of that. These are things that are quite unique and important for students who are interested in building up some experiences while they attend not bishops, sorry, any institutions that they may be in. Another great thing to take advantage of are the resources that schools offer. Bishop's University is not unique when it comes to offering a whole bunch of resources to truly allow students to become the best academic versions of themselves, whether that would be facing health and wellness problems, mental health issues, or anxiety issues that could really affect your academic grades and the ability to perform adequately during internships and business case competitions, or even hackathon, which is another competition-based, computer science-based. So take advantage of those opportunities, book an appointment with those counselors so that you could talk and overcome some of those issues to really allow you to have that perfect mental space in order to thrive when you come to Bishops. Or take advantage as well if you have any type of learning disability or ADHD or anxiety issues. Again, you can take advantage of the accessibility and accommodation centers of many of your schools. That will allow you to be competitive on an even playing field, as many of your other colleagues who may have some of those disabilities or current issues that you may be also having. Also taking advantage of the career development and academic facilitators. For example, I joined in when I'm back in my first year joining health sciences because I wanted to pursue medicine and become a doctor. I realized within my first year that was not at all for me. Instead of pushing through just to get a bachelor's degree and realizing that that's not what you want to do and you have to start back to square one, really take advantage of that opportunity where if you feel or you question yourself on whether that's what you really want to do or not, book an appointment with a career development counselor. And then from there, you'll be able to talk through the reason for it you wanted to go there, the passions and interests you may have, the things that may bother you, and hopefully they could reorient you into a field that's a better suited for you either way at the end. It worked out perfectly for me. I absolutely adore and enjoy what I'm doing today. So these are opportunities that are readily available. One thing that is unique about Bishops, however, and a system and an opportunity that's available for students is the writing center. So not every single university has that. This is something that Bishops University does offer, where oftentimes when you have term papers or business reports that you have to do, um, and they're quite large papers, many students will tend to lose grades based on small little grammar mistakes. You can book an appointment directly at the writing center, and then from there, all those small little grammar mistakes will be corrected, and you tend to see a 10% increase in grades on average for students. Again, that's part of our philosophy at Bishops, where we don't want to hinder students on things that are increasingly being automated, like grammar through Grammarly, and instead we really want to evaluate the true contents of the paper, the cognitive ability of a student. So I'm going to be moving on to the final portion of this presentation and what makes Bishops so unique and who we are as a university before I'll be uh, passing it on to my colleague, Ludmi. Ludmi, sorry, I'm really bad with names. So I'm going to start. Bishops University was founded in 1843. So we're one of the oldest and most historical campuses in Canada itself. We're older than Canada as a country. We used to be affiliated with Oxford University back in 1853, and we are, despite ourselves being located in the French province of Quebec, Canada, we are an English language institution. So we also more of a smaller, tight-knit community in campus, so we're less than 3,000 students available, 25% of which are international students coming from 80 countries across the world, and 75% are domestic, meaning coming from all across Canada, or any citizen, any student that has a Canadian citizen, whether they lived abroad and they come to Canada, they are considered a Canadian student that way. Part of our very traditional American centralized experience, which is very common in the States, but quite unique in Canada, means that 97% of our entire student population lives within walking distance. We are highly a residential university and campus. We are a centralized campus, and that's something that's quite unique in terms of other Canadian universities. A lot of Canadian universities are decentralized, meaning they have multiple buildings from in various pieces of land across a city most of the time. Despite our campus looking very historical and it has remained authentic ever since it was first founded in 1843, from the exterior, we have significantly renovated the inside of each of our buildings. We have adopted a Norwegian aesthetic when it comes to the inside to really promote peace of mind, creativity, to promote collaborative spaces. And you can really see it through the picture. It's very light and bright and airy. Directly available. All of our latest facilities that are being under renovation are all adopting that current aesthetic. Also, when you are going to Bishop's University, again, that's going to be something that even my colleague here will be talking about, the value-added facilities that they may have. So we do have the sports center. From there, you'll have access to various arenas, pools, and gyms. One of the cool things about Bishop's is that we do offer a private clinic where we have our own nurses and doctors directly on site and available for any student that attends Bishop's University. So for people who may not know, Canada has a free healthcare system that's accessible for any Canadian citizen. And because of that, it may take, wait times can take a little bit longer since there's a larger load than if you're going in the private healthcare system. Bishop's University offers directly, even if you are a Canadian student or an American, an international student, you have access to that private healthcare clinic system. You're guaranteed to be seen by a doctor or a nurse within only a few hours, even if you don't have an appointment, which is something that's almost unheard of when it comes to a Canadian such as myself using the public system. We also have access to the sports medicine clinic where you have access to physiotherapy, massotherapy. You'll be able to have access to massages as well. If you're part of a sports team, a varsity sports team or an intramural team, you'll have access to those services for only $5 extra. So you can get massotherapy, physiotherapy for only $5. Again, there's various opportunities for you to play and be part of a sports team. You can be part of clubs. Those are things that are more social, organized by other students. So that could be, for example, the rock climbing club or the swimming club, competitive swimming club that's organized by a student, done by students for their own students' pleasure. When it comes to intramural teams, those are sports teams that compete within other students within the school. And varsity teams, those are our main big team players that compete with various schools across Canada. So to give an idea of where we are located, again, we are a Canadian institution. We are located in the French province of Quebec, Canada. The French province of Quebec, Canada is primarily a French-speaking province and a French-speaking culture. However, Bishop's University is an English language institution. We are surrounded by an English community. So you really do not need to know French in order to thrive and excel when you come to Bishop's. However, it's a great opportunity for students who really want to learn a second or third language when they come to a university, especially Bishop's. We do offer French language courses for the same exact tuition prices that as a Quebec citizen I paid. So I'm going to show you the tuition prices. I'm going to talk to you about my tuition prices and how much of a big difference there is. It's practically free, and you're able to get state-of-the-art French classes. We also are really well located from major city hubs. So if someone who wants to take advantage of some major North America hubs when they attend Canada, we are only an hour and a half away from Montreal, only 2 hours away from Quebec City, one of the oldest cities in Canada, 3.5 hours away from the capital, 4 hours away from Boston, 7 hours away from Toronto, and 8 hours away from New York City. So we're really, really close to some major city hubs. We've also adopted the liberal education model. So that we adopted this essentially to allow students to tailor their degree through electives and areas of focus. So it gives a student the ability to truly, someone who may be very passionate, someone who may be doing chemistry and biology, but it also has a strong passion for music. You would be able to tailor your degree with chemistry and music, two very different fields that you could combine and tailor for your needs and desires. It also gives them the freedom for you to explore and discover yourself. It encourages students to ask questions and become more confident in their abilities. And that's all in the attempt to build EQ skills or emotional skills that are increasingly being valued by enterprises and companies. So again, the ability to retain information, the ability to communicate, network, present, adapt, and think quite quickly. Those are skills that are more challenging or a little more difficult to learn. So just to give an idea, the tuition prices for an international student who is interested in attending Bishop's University or other Canadian institution, you'll roughly pay about for a total estimated cost of 40,000 Canadian dollars, or 41,000 if you round it up. Please keep in mind that these are Canadian dollars, not USD. So just look at the latest conversion rate to have an idea. The tuition and fees itself are around 27,000 Canadian dollars, but this is a total estimated cost for first year. So that would include books and supplies, accommodations and meals, your tuition and fees. So what you will pay as a first year student, all included, to give an idea. We do also offer competitive scholarships up to 20,000 Canadian dollars and awards up to 8,000 Canadian dollars. Anything above that, so that's 28,000 Canadian dollars up for grabs. Anything above that, you'll have to take in charge of take the opportunity of the government scholarship program, where you'll have various criterias and various amounts up for grabs for international students such as yourself. So any students outside of Canada will be able to take advantage of that opportunity. So I was talking to you about the tuition price differences. As an international student, you'll be paying 27,000 Canadian dollars. As a Quebec student, myself, I paid 3,000 Canadian dollars. So just to give an idea of how much that difference is per credit, being able to take those French classes can be a great opportunity for you if you decide to attend Bishop's University. So I'm going to gloss over this little portion of the slide before I move on to the last two slides before I leave it to my colleague about the admission requirements. We do know that in many countries and even in the States across the world, they have various grading systems. But just to give an idea of where you may stand, we're looking for about an overall average of 80% or 3.5 out of 4 GPA. Depending the country that you are attending as well, you will need an English proficiency test score that matches our minimum score requirements in order to get in. This is the minimum requirement in order to get into to Bishop's University. Depending the program that you will select, it may be a little more challenging, a little more competitive in order to get in. The application process is honestly quite simple. You just go onto our website. You're going to see a huge, big apply now button. From there, you'll be asked to complete the online application form and pay the application fee. As of now, it's 65 Canadian dollars. However, we do hold events like the open house event where that application fee is waived, and you'll be able to get a answer on whether you got into the school or not into the program that you wanted by the end of the 3-day event. So if you want to take advantage of that, just please email me at the end at recruitment@ubishops.ca on the side in order to be part of that so that we can send you an email when that event is going to be held. Once you do that, you'll then be asked to submit your offer of admission and accepted by the deadline of June 1st. Oftentimes, the first document we'll be asking is a transcript, school profile, and depending the country that you're in, also an English test proficiency score. Those are the first documents that we tend to request. That will be the end of my presentation. I will conclude right here. Please don't hesitate to find us on social media through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Snapchat, and you can email me directly at jharriso@ubishops.ca, or if you're interested in communicating with anyone at the recruitment office, just write recruitment@ubishops.ca. So I'm going to end the presentation here and pass it on to my colleague.
Hello. That was a pretty amazing presentation. Thank you, University of Bishops. Thank you, Jeremy. Right now, I'm going to actually share about studying in the US. So please bear with me as I share my screen. Oh, I think I'm sharing the wrong screen here. Again, just give me a second. Okay, just give me a second here and we will get going. Can you see my screen or no?
We can just put it into presenter mode.
Okay, how about now?
Awesome. And then under display settings at the top there, just click presenter mode.
Do you see it now or because I'm seeing it?
We see it. We just see like the next slide as well. So if you go under display setting at the top there, and then, yeah. Perfect.
Oh, no. Good?
Good. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. I have 3 screens. I'm trying to navigate which screen is which. Good. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time today to talk to us, to listen to us about studying in Canada and studying in the United States. My name is Dr. Ludmi Herath, and I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. I'm born and raised in a country called Sri Lanka, and I came to the United States as an international student. So I know where you are today when you are attending a Canada-USA session, which means you're debating which country or which destination to go to. I was the same person, a 17-year-old, quite a few years ago. 17-year-old, I was thinking of Australia, New Zealand, England, Canada, and then I was even thinking of India. And my final destination was the US. But I decided after all my research that I'm going to continue my education in the United States. My major was very specific. I actually came for speech language pathology. You may know speech language pathology is a pretty popular program in the United States, but as you know, I've changed my program. And today, after my master's degree and my PhD program, I am the director for the entire International Center at the University of Houston, Victoria. So I know a little bit about what it is to be an international student. I'm not a recent graduate, but I did graduate quite some time ago. However, working with international students, working with the US embassies, working with every arena of international education tells me nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is varieties of more job opportunities, varieties of academic disciplines that has come since I graduated, and many more internship and curricular practical opportunities that our students are able to take part in. With that, let's dive in. In the United States, we have roughly over 4,500 institutions. Institutions can vary from community colleges to four-year universities to for-profit universities to doctoral degree granting universities, research universities, medical institutions, religious affiliated universities, you name it, we have it. So doing the research for 4,500 universities is going to be a little bit of a difficult task. So this is why we have these kind of events sponsored through worldwide tours, academic fairs, that we bring these universities so you can start from somewhere. So your needs and you like wants, your majors, everything could be very different to the student sitting next to you, or maybe the student that is your neighbor. One of the things that we hear most is, I picked your university because my neighbor is attending your university, which is great. But at the same time, with all the resources that you have available, do your research. You're unique, which means your needs are unique, which means you need a unique university. So pick your university. And just like the Canadian presentation, all of our academic institutions are governed by the Department of Education and accrediting bodies. So which means the universities are accredited, the degrees are accredited, so they have to have standards across the border. So depending on what features you're looking for, I call them features. So for example, if sporting is important to you, go ahead, find a university that has plenty of sports. If you want a robust computer science program, great, look into a university that has a robust computer science program. So the opportunities are endless. It's just that you need to dedicate some time for you to figure out what truly is the university you want to go into. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to cover why US, preparing to study in the United States, and we're going to talk about how to stand out, and we're going to talk about a little bit of the services. I do not want to repeat what the Canadian presentation was. We do also have all the features that they were presenting and possibly a little bit more. And then we will dive into university profile, and then we'll talk more about on-campus, off-campus employment, internships. What's the trend in the United States, right? I mean, you're spending all this money to learn, can I get that job after graduation? Where will my program fit in the grand realm of all these academic programs that is out there in the world? So I will talk about the US statistics on the employment rates, what programs are up and coming. So with that, why do international students select US? I'm sure, US is in your mind, and I'm sure that you are thinking about studying in the United States, but I'm sure there are some burning questions that you have. Education can be quite expensive in the United States, but I don't want you to get discouraged because of that cost. Like I said, you can find a best fit school for your cost. And we're going to dive into that pretty later on. Like I said, I was an F1 student. I was a visa student who came to the US to study. One of my research #1 criteria was funding. So regardless of where the location was, I needed a university that matched my funding. So I based my research on funding. So you can really narrow down according to your needs. So we have roughly 1.5 million international students studying in the US. Over 300,000 students are actually on this work permit called optional practical training, which can lead from 12 months to 36 months of work opportunities in your industry or in your field, academic field, post completion of your program. Our top 25 destinations, I know you all can read, are India, China, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, Canada, Vietnam, Taiwan, Japan. So these are top destinations. Top destinations means we have roughly over 20,000 students from these destinations, with India, China, South Korea surpassing the 25,000. The top 3 states, as you know, we have a lot of states in the US. And the top 3 states for the highest number of international students is California, New York, and Texas. I'm in Texas. So Texas is a sought after state for many international students. The top academic areas, and remember, these are actually from statistics from the Department of State, and Department of State is the folks that actually issues your visa, and then also the immigration portal. So these are the top going programs for international students right now. This year, we have seen a growth in humanities. So that was surprising for this year, how the humanities side kicked in a little bit beyond the previous years. So the top programs are business programs, biomedical, computer science, of course, digital gaming, simulation, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, data science spiked through the past 3 years, psychology, health, education, and like I said, speech, language, hearing science, and audiology. Medical related programs are quite popular in the United States among international students. So let's go into why USA. I know Canada, shared some of the organizations that is known to Canada. I'm going to share some of the organizations that is known to United States. We are called as the Tech Hub, and you may know California is the tech guru destination, but you may like to hear Austin, which is a city in Texas, is actually considered as the second Silicon Valley in the US because of all the booming companies that is now housed in the city of Austin. So of course, we have Tesla, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, you name it. I mean, if you've heard it, I mean, we do have all these organizations. And I'm also truly proud to say some of our international alums from our university, like the computer science program, which is one of the pretty big programs at our university, works at Dell. And then some students actually received final interviews for Google, Facebook, but we're so proud of our alum that, who's working in Dell right now. So is, of course, the cutting edge technology we have. Our university, like I said, we have computer science, robotics is pretty big with artificial intelligence. If you like to work with Transformers movie, you see the big giant robots. We don't have the big giant robots, but we roughly have robots about 5 feet. So you will see students programming those robots. You will see those robots in the room. There's also mini robots that you will see, driving through the hallways, because those are our students doing research and programming. Flexibility, one of the flexible programs that I've seen is in the US. If you don't like to get up at 8 o'clock, don't get up at 8 o'clock. You can find a class at noon. You don't want to get up at all, and all you want to do is evening classes, you can find evening classes. And there are some universities actually will have weekend classes, so you can just complete some of the classes on the weekend. And then flexibility, I mean, you are required to take face-to-face classes to a certain allocated number of classes, but all others you can take online classes. And then recently we developed virtual internships. So our international students, our American students, because of the pandemic, we have now virtual internships. One of our students just secured a virtual internship with an automotive company in Germany. Industry leaders mostly will come as adjunct faculty. So for example, if we have a company, a cement company or a lumber company or an engineering company, those high leaders in those organizations, we invite them as adjunct faculty to come and teach to our students in those academic disciplines. Range of general education, you may have heard many when you're doing your research saying that, oh, in the US, the first 2 years you have to do general classes. I agree. You do have to take few general classes, and that was my only downfall when I was thinking about US too, is why am I taking astronomy when I'm not thinking of doing astronomy? Why do I need to take psychology when I'm not going through a psychology? But little did I know, those 2 years or those few classes that I did in general education made me who I am today. And I'm settled down in the US, and those classes have helped me tremendously, not just, in settling down, but even to have a conversation or to give input to a job interview or have an overall knowledge of what America is, what every aspect of certain little things is. I didn't like music, but I took music classes. Art of listening was one of the classes I did. I took astronomy, so I know all the stars and constellations. So you get to open your eyes into little bits of very different industries that otherwise you may not go into. And also in the US, you can have double major, triple major, quadruple major. You can add gazillion minors. I didn't have a minor because my goal was to be in the international education field. So I do needed to learn more about little bit of cultures, how people behave. So my minor, I took classes of African culture studies, Native American studies, Hispanic studies. So I took varieties of classes for me to be all-round person on knowing what different cultures are about. And then excellent support system. Remember how I said that I was an international student myself? So during my time, there were very little services for international students, but right now, every university in the US that you go to, I guarantee you there's about 50 additional services just for the international students. And those services are it's free. You're not paying for anything. They range from picking up you from the airport to taking you on trips a few times a semester, to giving you counseling, advising, writing center, tutoring center, English conversation clubs, student organizations. If you have 5 friends coming from your country, you can build an organization and the university gives a organization funding for that. So many support systems. And we have also seen students from Australia transferring over to the university. And one of the things that they have told us coming from Australia is how much of a support system international students does have in the United States. And not just the support system. For example, we've had few ups and downs with the previous administration last time. And our university presidents, our leadership team got together and convinced our international students that, you know, you can work here, you can live here, you can settle down here. So it was pretty amazing to see that all the university staff, faculty, and the support, how they're supporting the international students that are on their respective campuses. Funding. One of the things that I know is the funding. I know I got resident rate tuition. So resident rate tuition means when I went to school, I paid the same tuition and fees as an American citizen did. And when you do come to Texas, you can win competitive scholarships and pay the same rate as an American students are paying. And on top of it, when you do come as a graduate student, as a research assistant or a teaching assistant, you actually don't have to pay anything other than your health insurance cost. So I came as an undergrad student and I received many scholarships. And then I went as a graduate student for my master's, and I paid nothing for my master's because I got a full graduate and a research assistantship. And when I went into my doctoral program, I was actually, you know, full-time here, American then. But at the same time, I paid nothing for my doctoral program either because I was a chosen member to do my doctoral program and everything was covered. I think I had to pay $300 in fees. So it's pretty amazing the funding opportunities that is there available for international students. Regardless of what university you go to, I can guarantee you there is some form of funding available for you. And these are the services that we have for international students. They range from pretty much everything. I'm not going to take time to read each and every one of it. I believe we have over 50 to 100 services that we have for international students. They go from tutoring to writing center to health centers to food pantry to career closet, where, you know, we don't anticipate for you to come with your blazers and suits. You can get a blazer from our career closet. And the food pantry actually is something that is quite new for our campus. We built that about 3 years ago, where students, whether they live on campus or off campus, they can just go to food pantry and get snacks for free. I mean, they're not just snacks. It could be from pasta to rice to anything. You can just walk in and get them. We have a shuttle. Our campus range is roughly about, not even 2 miles, but we don't want our students even to walk 1 mile or 1.5 miles. That we have shuttles placed for students to go back and forth from campuses to the shopping centers. So when you come as an international student, you do not need to worry about transportation. It is provided. We have disability services, testing services. So if you're somebody who's anxious to take a test with all group of students, 50 students, or I mean, we never have 50 students in a class, usually it's 20, then you can request testing services where you can actually go to a separate center and just yourself with the test, you're able to do testing on your own. Couple of things to why to study, what kind of research you need to look into is funding. I said, look at funding, how much funding you are able to afford and how much funding the university is giving. Location, do you want a big city, smaller city? Our university is located in a smaller city, Victoria, Texas. Rural, big cities, tend to be expensive, tend to be crowded, traffic could be terrible. So something that, you want to think, when I was looking at universities, I wanted a smaller city. I wanted a smaller campus. So I only looked at campuses between 5,000 to 10,000 students because I know small campuses gives more attention to you as a student. And then we are test optional. So you need to look at, all these universities are asking you to pay application fees, testing like English and SATs, ACTs, GRE for grad students. There are universities who actually don't ask for any testing. So right there, you're saving roughly about $1,200. So $1,200 that you're saving even before you step foot to get your visas. So talked about a couple of these things. And then let's dive into standing out. Why do you need to stand out? I'm sure you're asking that question by yourself as well. That's why you're here today. So standing out means, you are boosting your resume, you're boosting your professional career, you're putting yourself out there. As coming in as a new international student, you could be shy, you could be not knowing what's going on, you don't know how things work in the US, but putting you out there or standing out means we are helping you to make yourself different or a better. For example, you are not only competing with the American students, you're also competing with all the international, amazing, strong, smart students like yourself as well. So how do you stand out? Like, for example, job market is fierce these days. So if you are a business student and applying for a job in Austin, I'm pretty sure you're competing with 300 students because Austin has 4 universities around city of Austin. So you're competing with probably 300 students. How do you stand out from those 300 students? So why stand out? So a robust resume, gain experience, meet people, gain funds, pocket money wouldn't harm, right? Gain skills. When you are in the US, you're taking 12 to 15 credits, which is roughly about 4 to 5 classes. What are you going to do with the rest of your time? Maybe you're bored. So get out of the boredom. And then truly, like from the time you get here to the US and then the time that you graduate, you're building your resume, you're boosting your possibilities, opportunities to secure that job that you're coming here to study for. So how do you do on campus standing out? We have many volunteering opportunities. We actually have a separate department called student outreach. So they help you to get those volunteering opportunities. One of the things that I do want you to be open-minded and not to think, oh, why do I contribute my time? I need to get monetary values. But don't ever think that, you're going to be receiving accolades without contributing any of your hard work, right? So if on-campus paid job is not available or that is competitive, start volunteering. And you can put those volunteering experience back into when you're applying for on-campus jobs. And when you do apply for on-campus jobs, don't be picky. You can apply for any jobs. Think of on-campus jobs as a way to get to know things, to network, gain that experience. Anything you do, whether it's volunteering or a job on campus, it's not going to go out for waste. It's just going to build you. It's going to give you that added advantage of knowing how to network, what to put in your resume. I remember, in the US, you can work 20 hours on campus. That was how it was in my day too. And I couldn't find the 20 hours. And I did 4 jobs to find the 20 hours. And, and I did from being a janitor to I was working at Burger King, to then I was in September, after 30 days of coming to the US, I was hired as a international program student worker. So that on-campus job is how I am the director of a different campus at the International Center. So you never know what US opens your path to. I came as a speech language pathologist and I changed my major, and I'm today the director for the International Center, helping students like yourself. And so you never know how an on-campus employment opportunity can change your life. And and then other events is, like I said, US universities have pretty much good funding for students, all walks of students. So you can actually take part in, conferences, national conferences, international conferences. You can be a resident assistant and get your room and board free. You can be an orientation counselor. There's so many things that you can do to get involved and stand out. And one of the other things is, when you meet somebody, say hello, say, hey, I'm so-and-so. And if you're the first person in your campus from your country, say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I am the first student from Sri Lanka, or so-and-so, I'm the first student here to be in the graduate program from this country. That is how I got to networking. And I quickly became a quick chatterbox because I put myself out there and people knew who I am. And I'm not even in that school. I left that school many, many years ago. And there are staff and faculty who still remembers me because I did take that chance to get to know people because I didn't know anybody. I came on my own to a campus that I didn't have any friends. So it was my duty to make friends and make that university my home. So how do you make that university your home is by getting to know people and putting yourself out there. And always remember, it is okay to showcase your culture and your country. Bring attire, bring souvenirs from your country and showcase your country. Be proud to showcase your country and say that I am from this country. And then it goes a long way. There are numerous community members that have approached me saying, hey, I know you're from Sri Lanka. When there was a couple of bombs happened a couple of years ago in 2019, so many community members reached out to me to give their condolences for what's happening. So it is pretty amazing when you put yourself out there and share your experiences. And I know internships is something that the previous presentation talked about it too. We focus on internship from the very first day that you come to the United States. So internships is pretty enforced in our university or in other universities in the US. Now with COVID and the pandemic, we have virtual internships. So you don't have to leave anywhere. You get to work in Germany or in Europe through virtual internship platforms. So we don't want any of our students to waste time because it's a pandemic. We want students to maximize their opportunities. So off-campus employment is also available. Again, volunteering in food pantry, Habitat for Humanity, take the initiative to take part in community events. For example, 4th of July is the Independence Day, and we have a lot of volunteering events that they seek students to be volunteering. So for example, if there's a marathon, 5K, 13K, a marathon, maybe you can actually volunteer for that marathon and wear your university pride shirt. So always take part so you can not just stand out on campus, but you can also stand out off campus. Because guess where you're looking for jobs? You're looking for jobs off campus. So you never know who you're going to meet at these events. And they may actually be the person who's interviewing you for the job. You never know who you meet. And on-campus employment, we touched briefly. The students can work 20 hours when school is in session and 40 hours when school is not in session. Also, internships can be part of your on-campus employment or off-campus employment. You can do internships on a regular semester as well for 20 hours, or you can do a full-time internship during the summer semesters. Little bit about off-campus employment. I'm not going to go through all of these because just know that you all have opportunities to work off campus in the US through co-op programs, through internships, we call it curricular practical training, then optional practical training, and then also if you're a student who's struggling severely through economic hardship, you can also work off campus. Now, let's go to the statistics, right? So if you look at this table, you can see how much the employment opportunities in the US have changed. So the yellow and the pink graph that you see are the students in certain academic programs. So the pink is STEM programs, and the yellow is those who are working after graduation. And you can see we have 2019 data, but now it's 2021, but those only have increased over the years. Now, if you go to the box below, this is actually from the Labor Department, and you can see the salary, the average salaries. So if you're a STEM student, you're looking at 86,000 on median annual wage. To other occupations, roughly 40,000 US dollars. To non-STEM occupations, you could go range from $35,000 to $38,000 a year. And then it also depends on which state you're going into. Now, if you look at this slide, you will see how the academic programs have changed over the years. You can see that health industry is the highest from the blue area, but STEM programs, the engineers, computer science, you could see computer science out of this science and engineering, computer science is still dominating. So if you are a student looking for computer science, digital gaming, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, US is the destination of how fastly job opportunities are growing in the US. And job opportunities means that they will sponsor your work visa, and then work visa tends to go to a green card, and then the green card tends to go to a citizenship pathway. Couple of other events, I quickly touched on these, academic conferences, local, national, international. We do send our students to international conferences. You'll be pretty amazed the destinations we have sent our students into. And then when you do head back home, share the positive stories. So your neighbors or other students will like the university and then can come to the university. I always say a bigger community of your own country makes you to complete the program faster. So now we're going into University of Houston, Victoria. So we're in Texas. I don't know if you can see this, the little map in this side. We're roughly about a few hours away from the Mexican border, so pretty hot. So the only two seasons we have is hot and rainy season. The reason I'm wearing a rain jacket is it's pouring out right now. It was 90 degrees yesterday, and it's pouring down right now. All day it's been pouring. So one of the things that we strive with international students is our cost. That is number one reason why our international student selects the university is our cost with scholarships roughly can range between $15,000 to $18,000 a year, and without scholarships, it's roughly about $28,000. So like I said, all students do receive scholarships, so you're looking at pretty affordable prices. And then if you do live on campus, we give additional funding for you to live on campus. And those funding can roughly range from $1,000 to $1,200 an academic year. We're roughly 2 hours away from all the metropolitan cities, so 2 hours away from Houston. We're in Victoria, Texas, even though our university says University of Houston, but we're in city of Victoria. And Houston is the 4th largest metropolitan city in the US. So you come to Houston, you have everything. It's the 4th largest city in the entire US. So if you've survived Houston, you can survive any part of the world. And then I do have a small video. So let's play that one. So here's a little snapshot of University of Houston, Victoria. So let's go into the poll questions. I'm launching a poll for 20 seconds. Where is UHV located? Okay, I'm ending the poll. Many said Houston. Of course, yes, the word says Houston, right? But we are located in Victoria, Texas. And let's go to another poll. Which state is UHV located? California, Texas, Minnesota, North Dakota. Texas it is. And let's try another question. Okay. How many hours can you work in the United States? 20 hours, 40 hours, 20 to 40 hours, 10 hours. Good job. 20 to 40 hours it is. 20 hours when semester is in session and 40 hours when semester is not in session. So these are a couple of programs that we have. I know for the sake of time, I'm going to bypass this and then talk a little bit about our university. Our application fee is quite affordable. It's $25. We are test optional, which means we don't need any tests from the students. Our scholarships ranges from $3,000 to all the way to $12,000. If you're a graduate student, you can actually receive up to $12,000. Our deadlines are pretty understandable, and then our scholarships are based on your academic transcript from back home to personal statement and resume. So with that, I'm actually going to launch in another poll, and then we will. Okay, how much maximum scholarships amount can you earn at UHV? 3,000, 12,000, 8,000, 5,000. We have a tie for 5,000 and 12,000. Actually, it is $12,000. And then let's go into another poll question. How much is the scholarship for living on campus at UHV? Somebody picked 5,000, 3,000, but it's $1,200 if you're living on campus on top of the $3,000 to $10,000 scholarship awards. So with that, I think we can conclude, but I see we have a question asking, do you offer nursing program? The University of Houston, Victoria, we do. It's an online only program, so you can complete from your back home. But I don't know if Bishops have the nursing program.
Jeremy, do you want to?
Bishops University does not offer a nursing program.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you both for this presentation. It was very insightful and I really enjoyed it. And I think everyone got a lot out of it. But to conclude, we are out of time. You can check out both Ludmila and Jeremy in their booths in the exhibit hall. We still have a couple more hours left of the fair. And thank you all for participating. Bye now.